Seems it has. Now to just make sure. And there we go. I think everything's all right. Everything seems all right. Yep. Oh, hold on. No, that's okay. Yeah, I think everything's fine. Everything's ready to go. So let's just get right into all the new stuff on the dev server, shall we? I will do it slightly differently than I usually do my dev server reviews. Instead of going by all new ship additions, then all the mechanics and stuff, I've, as I usually do, written down all sorts of changes in the presets. And I'll just go over the changes as I've written them in the presets in screen or on game. Whatever. So, first and foremost, starting with the Americans, they have a new battleship, the Tennessee, coming in after Nevada, which is a fair guess, seeing as it's also an anti-air refit standard. It is a glorious chunker of a brick American battleship. It is genuinely just awesome. It looks amazing. And I am looking forward to get it. Now, with it being an American standard, of course, it is not the best in terms of ammunition layout. Mainly because they're just so damn wide, so if you use penetrated range, you'll likely land a shell into the magazine. Armor-wise, it's the same as the other standards, 13.5-inch belt. 32cm barbette, and so on. It is... yeah, it does have the different guns. It has the same guns as the Mississippi, which was a previous event vehicle. So yeah, the Tennessee is a very nice addition to see with the more potent guns. Sadly, it does still have the bad reload. Other than that, I'm looking forward to getting it. As an American standard, it should be one of the better battleships in the American tree. Now I'm actually here, and somebody else pointed out to me, but the bridge is tiny on this battleship. And is it actually an armored conning tower? It is, although not the most armor for battleship standards, but it is an extremely tiny bridge. Just interesting to note. But yeah, that is Tennessee, and I'll get back to a test sail for it later. A minor change for the Americans is at the Douglas, and I'll show this in a test sail. Now also has a small animation for when you expand its missiles.
All hands man battle stations.
So I'll just launch the missiles. Don't really care what happens to them. And there they go. Now they're closing.
Spotted on radar. Attacker.
The boxes on the Douglas will actually close. And it seems like they have a reload now, which I didn't notice before.
Make condition 1.
But yeah, I'll take another closer look at Mississippi and Tennessee when it comes to your armor layout. But yeah, reload animation for the Douglas. And it does seem to be carrying 2 extra missiles, which makes it a bit more competitive in terms of just missile number. And I need to check out if that's actually the case, because I didn't notice that before. Yeah, it carries 4 missiles now instead of the 2. Very nice. So a slight buff and the addition of a animation for the Douglas. Then we get the tracers, and Alaska is standing in here, but I think I'll just show it with the Tennessee, because we need to test out the Tennessee anyways. But the tracers in Naval, and I think most
Motion. Bring us to General
gamers have actually become brighter, have become more distinct. Let's go for air targets. And you can see that the tracers are just a little bit more visually distinct.
Ahead. 2,000 meters.
Also, I have seen the data mined naval stuff, and I'll get to that at closer to the end of the overview, but I have seen them, so do not worry about that. Yeah, Tennessee. Cool battleship, the tracers are nice.
Flank speed.
I have noticed that on the dev server, the 5-inch guns do not shoot at aircraft, so that's probably just dev server bug shenanigans. But yeah, this is a absolutely glorious looking brick of an American battleship. And I'm looking forward to adding it to my collection.
Standard rudder.
Right standard rudder.
But I am going to
Aye,
just
aye.
quickly check the difference between the armor of it and Mississippi. Sadly, I do not own Tennessee, so I can't actually put it side by side in the viewer. Armored deck is 165 and 130. Is there another deck? There is. Not too familiar with these battleships, so I can't really tell the difference, but let's see if we can see one. And that's definitely the wrong button. Oh. The lower deck is indeed different. Or the deck armor in general is different between the two. They are different classes of ships, so it's not too surprising that the armor is somewhat different. But yeah, I'm looking forward to Tennessee, that's for sure. So, moving on from America, we'll go to Germany. And as you can see, there's a few things here that we have to go over. But first and foremost, their Flinger. The new German battlecruiser, is it? Yes, battlecruiser at 6.3, coming after Von der Tann. It is a beauty of a German dreadnought era capital ship. Genuinely, like a really nice looking capital ship. Armor-wise, it is actually pretty solid for a ship of this type. An upper belt of 260mm of cemented armor is not bad at all for a 6.3 ship. Even the casemate's 150 is standard. Yeah, pretty well armored. Pretty fast. And it comes with the 12-inch guns. And the German 12-inch guns are not too bad. And they do have a high rate of fire. I have heard that this little rounds a minute and the aced, with an aced crew is incorrect. Because I think on Tennessee it was showing also as 2 rounds a minute, which it just can't reach. Okay, I need to slow down my speech and actually say correct words. But yeah, the fire rate, it now says the fire rate of an aced crew. But on Tennessee it was showcasing it as 2 rounds a minute, which is just incorrect. So I wouldn't believe it entirely, but yeah, these are German capital ship guns and they can fire quite a bit quicker than other nations' 12-inch guns. And another thing I will showcase with their Flinger is this little X-ray part filter. So now, like, you can't really see how the ammunition is located behind the fuel tanks. Well, let's just click ammo, and now you see just the ammunition location. And of course, if you want to do other stuff, like just the engines with it. So maybe the torpedoes, where are they? There they are. All that kind of stuff. This is very, very nice. Makes it a bit easier to check out where stuff like damage control, fire control, just all the small modules are now more easily findable. Very, very neat indeed. And that's their Flinger. I can test sell it, and I think I will. I'll do it with reference, so that's when it's spaded in terms of mobility. And the Flinger is quite a good-looking capital ship. The anti-air guns also carry HETF, which is always nice to see. And there we go. Secondary is doing work as they should. Yeah, I think this will be a very, very solid addition to a German 6.3 lineup. With its, I think I got it up to 55 kilometers an hour. Let's see how fast we can get it to. Yeah, 52 kilometers an hour, but that's still quick enough for a 6.3 battlecruiser, which is decently armored, has decent-ish guns. Yeah, I see this being a solid addition to the German 6.3 lineup, which is already pretty stacked. Now let's see what else we have. 15. Okay, so apparently there's a small change with these ships having different, like, I think the patch literally just said ammunition load has been corrected, whichever that means. So I'm not quite sure. So yeah, some ammunition correction has happened to these 3 ships. The armor, I think, when I read the patch note, this little armor plate here got corrected, but I'm not entirely sure. It was something about stern armor transfers armor plating being corrected, but I'm not entirely sure because some of those patch notes aren't that clear. Then there was something about the Jaguar, this thing, having camo like not applied to the turrets correctly. That's been fixed. And then there's something about the Bernau's missile model being fixed or corrected, but I'm also not entirely sure what that means. In a test sale, when I test sailed it off stream, it didn't perform any different from what it had before, so who knows. That might have been it, bleeding uranium, but I'm not too familiar with those German 15mm guns. I'll have to compare it to the live server at some other point. So that's really it for Germany. They get a really solid new 6.3 battlecruiser and a bit of a block towards Scharnhorst, which, maybe you oppose it, maybe you don't. But I think their Flinger will be a very nice addition, especially with that kind of armor. But yeah, on to the next nation, which is Russia, which has Ismail. Let's just take off the armor. And it is, in my opinion, it is a ship it's reasonable to get. It is their 14-inch armed battlecruiser. I think this was also a ship that was never completed. But it is definitely a ship that Russia deserves to have. It makes sense for the Russians to get this ship. I knew of it already. Probably should have gotten it. And yeah, on that remark, Liberate, I think it being a 6.3 might be a bit weird for their Flinger. We'll have to see. Yeah, this being added to the Russian tree is a good addition. I will note, however, armor-wise, it is a battlecruiser, so it isn't the thickest of armor. I think that's 9 inches, I'm not entirely sure. So, not the most resilient to enemy fire, especially at 7.0. And then if you look at the X-ray, and if I actually reset that, the ammunition is all above the waterline, or pretty darn close to it, and not behind fuel tanks at all. Like I said, I think this is also above the waterline, just barely, but it's wide enough, so if you just hit it at range, you'll just splash damage it anyways. So I'm of the opinion that this battlecruiser will blow up relatively easily. And yes, it does look really tall, especially when you compare it to the previous Russian dreadnoughts. Its freeboard is enormous. Okay, thank you, QD and Vader. 9.5 inches. But yeah, it is quite a high freeboard, seeing as it has 2 decks of secondaries here. Shell types, let's actually look at the shells. It has base fuse high explosive stock, which is good. It's always nice to have some kind of armor penetration on a stock shell for a battleship. Has a hefty explosive mass as well. Penetration is not enough to actually penetrate battleship armor, but good enough to maybe punch through upper belts. Then the AP is also, I think, decent enough. I'm not... Again, battleship shells are not my forte in terms of their performance. But yeah, these are the 2 shells on Ismail. All in all, it's a Russian ship that, you know... I think the Russian 3 deserves the ship. It's one of the few capital ships they really could have. And it's, I think, going to be a solid one. Speed-wise, 44 kph, and what is it upgraded? That's 45.5. 48. 51, 52-ish, maybe, if it adds up correctly. So around 51, 52-ish kilometers an hour is not too bad for a capital ship, although you are at 7.0. 12 14-inch guns at 7.0 is also pretty decent, but I don't think this ship will survive well at 7.0. But oh well, it is definitely a ship that is a neat addition to the Russian 3. Then a minor one is that the TKA 106 got renamed to TKA 412. Oh well, and that's about it. For the Russians, then we go to Britain, which has also very little. Apparently, the Orion had one of its secondaries bug through the superstructure. I do not know which secondary gun it is, so I can't really showcase it. But that's apparently a bug that has been fixed. Then moving on to Japan, just as swiftly, we have quite a lot of new stuff. First of all is a new PT boat, which is the PT-802, coming in after Type T-38 at rank 2 at 2.0. Why is it 2.0? Well, it has only 140mm in the rear, it goes incredibly slowly, and that's about it. It has the same anti-submarine torpedoes as PT-808. Yes, also an event Barham, but the Barham is not on the dev server and I cannot see it, so oh well. That's why I'm skipping over that for now. But yeah, this is not the greatest boat, but it's dirt cheap because it's rank 2. At 2.0 you will never fight destroyers at the very least, so it shouldn't be too bad. Like it's dirt cheap to unlock, to research and spade. 44, so that's 45.5 again. I think this is the ship actually as fast as the. I think this boat might genuinely be as fast as the Ismail, which yeah, I'd rather have the Ismail over this if I'm going the same speed. Oh well. It might mean it. But yeah, this is just a boat for Japan. Nothing too special, and luckily incredibly cheap and a low BR. Then we have some more stuff. The Sokote. This one specifically has the fire rate increased for its machine guns. From, I think, was it 700 to 800 rounds a minute? Or was it 600 to 700? I'm not entirely sure. But anyways, the fire rate of the machine guns got increased. Then we go to Kurama, which apparently has its Barbette armor corrected. Again, I'm not too familiar what its Barbette armor is on the live server, but yeah. Also, I am just not able to keep up with the chat at the moment. Let me just quickly read through it again. Yeah. So Kurama's Barbettes got changed. I'm not entirely sure what the change is because it didn't actually say what happened to it, but well. Some change. The Mogami class apparently had their draft increased, which I'm also not entirely sure what that does, because their freeboard still looks pretty much the same to me. It might be slightly lower, but not by much. Again, I'm not entirely sure. Then a kind of interesting one is that Takuma got renamed to Tama, which is something I only actually discovered recently, or semi-recently, is that the Kuma we had in game for years and years has always been IGN Tama, and not Kuma itself. So now they just corrected it and changed the name. It is not a new ship, it is just a renamed Kuma. That's it. Or well, a correctly named Kuma. Floatplane, which I will showcase with the Tama, as well as voice lines. So, the Japanese naval crews have new voice lines, and there's a bit of an interesting story behind them. Let's just go to a test sale. Somebody else pointed out to me that DMM, a Japanese publisher, for as far as I know, I'm not too sure what they are, has recently changed the crew voice lines for naval, for Japan, with actual Japanese self-defense force, like personnel, or ex-personnel. So the voice for the captain is an actual captain, or was a captain. The voice for the officer was an actual officer. And the voice for the seaman is an actual, you know, Navy seaman. Which is always nice to see. I think I'll just turn up the sound a little bit. It is kind of cool, considering that. The one somewhat complaint I would say about it is that they're like military servicemen, so they know the jargon quite well, but they're not voice actors. And that you can sometimes tell also that actors incredibly loud. I'm trying to hear the crew voices.
発射管準備通りかーし
Torika.
But yeah,
最大戦争
as you can hear, they're different from what they are on the live server, and they're actual. It's neat. I think it is very neat, and you do get used to it, but it is different.
面かじいっぱい
Omokaji bye.
But yeah, that's a very cool little detail to get added. And I think DMM was also planning to expand the voice lines to air and ground with actual service members, which for ground I think would be incredibly interesting. Yeah.
関西機発艦せよ
No, also Jorg, those like elongated sounds for when turning over the rudder is accurate. But it is, yeah, it's something exactly. They're not voice actors, and you can tell. It's a nice detail that they're actually service members. But yeah, it's missing some of that flair from a voice actor. And then on to the other change I want to show. Float planes now have the minimap visible when they're flying around. But yeah, it's just a neat feature as well. I'm trying to
思うか
Omoka.
Yeah.
上限更新
It's a very
味
neat
中
addition for a Japanese enjoyer like myself. And that's about it for Japan, of course excluding some of the data mine stuff. So we'll move swiftly on. Italy has only a minor change with, I think, there was something about the 40mm mount having a higher elevation angle now. But yeah. Then, yeah, that's about it for Italy. Then on to the biggest change for, well, biggest addition this update, French Coastal. And I have taken the time, yesterday evening, to completely grind them out, so I can test sail all of them and showcase all of them. Anyways, we have... I'll do a short rundown of what I think of the three. The Reserve and all the other 1.0s are not fun. As you may notice, if you're looking at the set screen, 2 7.7s. That is it. That is your only gun armament on the Reserve, this 1.0, and the other 1.0. I think that's not a good armament at all. Liberate, I'll get to that later. But yeah. So the Reserves, the 1.0s, are going to be rough to get through if you're getting into the French tree. I mean, look at the speed. They're fast enough, I'd say. I don't think they're exceptionally fast. Like, let's compare it to the Americans. 67, 83, 76. They're smaller than the Americans, so they are, of course, a bit faster. What about the British? 61, 74. They are on the faster side, apparently. What about Japan? 61, 71. Germany. Yeah, no, the French coastals are on the faster side for the early coastals, at least. They're quick. Their torpedoes are not great, 61 kilometers an hour. So yeah, the first 1.0s are not going to be great, but they're all rank 1. You'll get through them semi-quickly. So hopefully that shouldn't be too much of a problem. I think the VTB-14 actually has decent torpedoes. Nope, it's not this one. It's the 11 then. Yeah, the 11 actually has decently quick torpedoes as well. So of the three 1.0s, I would consider VTB-11 the fastest and also, well, the best. And also the best looking, to be honest. But they're all pretty neat. Then moving on to 1.3, we have VTB-13. Basically the same thing as VTB-14, but losing the torpedoes for a rear 20mm Oerlikon. And the Oerlikon has decent firing angles. Let me actually showcase them.
Sécuriser le navire
Like, the frontal firing arc for the 20mm is that, which is definitely usable. It is, and it also rotates in the frontal arc over the bridge like that, so it is decent enough.
Branle-bas de combat. Ennemi détecté. Moteur, pleine puissance.
À bâbord, tout
So,
terminé.
of the rank
Bas,
ones,
terminé.
that VTB-13 is definitely the best. It's in for 1.3 at 20mm, good enough, I guess. Then VTB-19 moves the 20mm to the front and gives you two 13.2s. So this packs a bit of a more punch. However, I will actually showcase something after I turn the sound down again, because it is blasting my ears. Let's go to a test sale. What I have noticed with the new tracers, the new tracers are really noticeable in coastal, and I'm not the biggest fan of them.
Bateau.
Well, I am and I'm not, but on this ship, I find the tracers actually a little bit confusing. Especially at range, it can be a bit difficult to see what's the 20mm and what's the 13.2s. No, the answer, it was just because it was close range. I think it should be the same. Let's just wait for the other coastal to come around. Come on. Yeah, these boats are decently quick at least. Go.
Identifié. Bateau.
Also, I forgot to mention something about the 7.7, and I'll get to that later. But yeah, that is the tracers. A thing I forgot to mention about these 7.7s, which all three 1.0s have, is, yeah, 13 to 10 second reload on a 300 divided by 2 because it's 2 barrels, so 150 round belt, and then 12 second reload. That is rough. It is, yeah, the 1.0s are not fun. They're going to be rough. Luckily, they're rank 1, so it's pretty quick to go through. I haven't actually checked out this thing, but it is... Actually, those torpedoes are different, aren't they? No, they're the same, never mind. Yeah, this is just a... It doesn't even have better armament. This is, I think... Does it make it the only reserve premium coastal that doesn't have a better armament compared to the actual reserve? Let me check the Italian coastals again. This is technically a worse one, but this was the original reserve, so it had a more, somewhat more gunnery. This has a different gun. Is it actually the first reserve coastal with just the same armament as the actual reserve? Huh. Well, don't get it. Ah, yeah, PT6 is equal, but the thing about PT6 is it's a completely different hull. And I think it's... No, it's not faster. It's weird. Yeah, but yeah, you're right. PT6 also has the same. But yeah, that's something. And that concludes, I think, the early stuff, rank 1 and the first rank 2. Then the later stuff gets funny. MTB 96 is literally just a British Vosper. I think it is the same as the Vosper as this thing. So a 20mm, dual 12, dual 50 cal and 2 torpedoes. The French boat is a 20mm, a dual 50 cal, 2 twin 7.7s, I guess, and then 2 torps. But as somebody has already pointed out, this is 2.0. The British Vosper, if I can get to it again, is 1.7. For the exact same ship, except it has 2 dual 7.7s. Why is it 2.0? The 7.7s do not meaningfully enhance the armament. But yeah, that's what it is. It's a Vosper. The Vospers are decent boats. It's an early rank 2 boat. You'll get through it incredibly quick. Then we get to, arguably, the funniest boat in the entire tech tree. L9059. basically, from what I know, this is a so landing craft gun medium. This is a landing craft support ship. This is just basically a floating artillery battery, just providing artillery support for landing operations. These are also, I believe, the first appearance of the British 25-pounder gun and game. I think that is the case. I'm not entirely sure if there's any ground vehicle of it, but I don't think there is. Also, this ship has actually some armor, which, you know, decent. It is 2.7. 2.7 might be a bit rough, especially when you consider the top speed, and that's spaded. I think let me just take off the speed modifications to show you how slow it is unspaded. Yep. That's the wrong button. But I'll take this into a test cell real quick. It does get HE and solid shot. There is no reason to use solid shot, just, you know, use the HE. So the armor box is right here. In the X-ray, that is the engines and the ammo. So it is actually a Citadel. This ship has a Citadel armor. It has coastal damage model, but it is like the weird larger coastal damage model. So stuff like, you know how sub-chasers are slightly more tanky compared to a normal coastal vessel? It's somewhat like that. So it can take a little bit more fire. Anyways, let's go into a test sail. And because I just saw the question, the bridge is armored as well. At least it seems like it. Somewhat. Let's go into a test sail.
Branle-bas de combat, tout le monde à son poste. Moteur, pleine puissance. Par un tribord, tout.
The 40 mil on the back is a bit unfortunate in its positioning. So I'll just see if I can get the plane out of the sky. It is an incredibly goofy looking ship, and I highly doubt it'll actually be too useful. And it's going to be incredibly noisy, isn't it? Hold on, I'm going to turn my sound down even more. But yeah, that's deals decent damage. Plane crashed in my hull. And the reload is not too bad for the howitzers. They're incredibly accurate. Their dispersion is really strong for the or really good for these guns. There you go, and their damage is not inconsiderable when they do get a hit. But yeah, the dispersion is good, pretty tight. The velocity is not too bad, as you can see. So it's not the worst howitzer ship out there. And it does have a 40 mm in the rear and 220, so it can defend itself a bit when it gets flanked. But yeah. Against destroyers, obviously, it's not going to do much. But as you can see, incredibly good dispersion. And that actually did more to the destroyer than I thought it would. But this is a really goofy little boat. The one problem with it, though, is I think it's a rank 3. And that means at rank 3, it does get pretty pricey to unlock the modifications for it, I believe. I can't actually check it now, can I? So, of course, if you know, these bonuses are the total research cost divided by 5 for the rank. So in this rank, actually, these mods are all 5,500 RP. These are all 6,000 RP. These will be a bit more... I don't know the math, but more. And that'll be quite expensive in the later mods. But this one should be okay-ish to grind. It is incredibly funny, but definitely not meta. I don't think it'll do too well in real matches. On the dev server, you only fought against reserve coastals and there were no players around to fight. So, yeah. And yes, the high explosive is stock. It is the solid shot that is researchable. And I don't think it is actually a patrol craft for rivers. It is, well, as the name suggests, let me hover over it again. It's a landing craft support. I think it's literally supposed to be an offshore artillery battery because these are just artillery guns. But I am not entirely sure on the history of the ship. But it's a goofy, cool-looking ship in my opinion. Then we move on to VLT-1, which is probably the least exciting addition because it is just a tech 3 version of the VLT-2. So the main difference between these two is that it doesn't have the 20 mils amidships, which are actually a decent backup weapon to the 40 mils. But other than that, it's identical. I don't have this thing spaded yet because I just couldn't get around to it. I think the torpedoes are the same. They are. It's, you know, it's what to be expected. 3.7 I still think is a bit rough for just a Bofors boat. But yeah. What? I guess I learned something new there. Then VLT2, I don't think it needs an introduction. We've already had it for an update now. I did get it, as you can see, just so I could do this. And it's okay, I guess. And then we get to the interesting boat, La Combattante. The one with the SS-11 missiles in the back. At 4.0, I will say at 4.0 with L60 Bofors, not ideal. Not ideal at all, to be honest. It has some 50 cals as well on the side, but that's just not nearly enough. It is also incredibly slow for the battle rating. It is not ideal. It is much more a defensive coastal ship than it is an aggressive one. So if you're looking to use this as a coastal capper for higher BR battles, don't. You might just be better off with the VLT or even the Vosper. Although the Vosper will just get outgunned by 4.3 ships. The VLT will probably be your sticking point if you're looking for a coastal capper. But yeah, there is La Combattante. I'm definitely saying that wrong, but oh well. Let's take it into a test sail, shall we? Another thing to note is that the SS-11s come stock with this ship. So you do not need to unlock it. You can also actually aim the missiles up at the sky. And let's see if we can actually hit the aircraft, but I don't think we will. Because yeah, the missile just isn't fast enough to get to the aircraft. At least not on the test sail. But you can aim it up at least. Then against ships. The missile is quite slow, but it will one-shot coastals. It will do severe damage against coastals. And there we go. The missile has a range of 3 kilometers. It says so in the stat card. Well, guaranteed launch range of 3 kilometers. And I have actually managed in a test drive to... You know what, let me reset this. Because there's something else I want to show as well. I have managed to destroy, or ammo rack, this destroyer here in the test drive. By shooting it underneath the... third turret in the ammo rack, basically. But another thing I want to show is you can control all 4 missiles at once. All 4 are under guidance. Which I think people can do some cool stuff with. But I'm definitely not one of those people. And that is me out of missiles. And I think I just missed entirely. Yeah, it's a interesting ship. The SS-11's not the greatest. It's funny, but not the greatest. And that's it for French Coastal. But again, there are some data mines, and I'll get to those later. Then let's just go over the rest. Bretagne, these two... Oh, what was the change again? I think these two battleships got their elevation increased for the main guns. Then Emile Bertin got its speed reduced from 74 to 73, I think it was in the patch notes. Doesn't seem to actually have been implemented yet. Or at least not on the stat card. But yeah, the Emile Bertin lost 1 kilometer an hour of speed. And towing has changed in Naval. There's no real way I can show this at the moment. I might need a volunteer because I don't actually know quite how it has changed myself, but I'll get to that in a bit. Then the data mines, and I'll just pull up some images for that real quick. Just give me a second to set it up. So, there have been some ships data mined. And let me just quickly change over to this. I think you should be able to see this. We have some new ships. So these three here, the Ara class for France, the Mogador class destroyer, and the Croix de la Jesus, never mind, it's too French for me. A frigate for France. And then we have an Italian coastal boat, and of course, where was it? I think I saw it. It's not mentioned here, but we do have Amagi in the files as well. So if we go over, here we have Amagi in the files. I am very much looking forward to Amagi. And I'll be interested in seeing what that'll do. Then, the Ara, the funniest of French frigates. This thing, I'm not sure what the guns are. And I haven't actually looked too much into it, but apparently it's a frigate that's supposed to look like a merchant ship. And it's such a goofy looking French ship, and I'm already loving it. With these two big guns in the middle with no frontal or rearward firing arc, it's goofy, but I'm loving it already. Yeah, I think they're the French 138s, I think I've heard that as well. Which, if they are, those are actually quite potent guns. I'm looking forward to getting this ship, that's for sure. Then the La Surprise, which we saw earlier, with the French frigate I just couldn't pronounce, is a British Isles class, which we already have in game as an event premium. And if this is coming as a tech tree ship for France, that'll be quite neat. Other than that, we have this Italian dinky little coastal vessel with the Italian pom-pom 40 mil on the front. The Mass 441. Incredibly funny looking, and I hope we do see it. And then the French destroyer Mogador. The 8-gun French destroyer renowned for its speed. I am also really looking forward to seeing this in game. But that is about it for the data mines that I know of. Also, just wait a second as the screen comes back. There we go. So that's basically it for the new additions to Naval, at least for as far as I could tell. If there's anything you want me to look back at, if anything you want me to look closer at, please ask, and I'll do that right away. I don't know of any other data mines other than the ones I showed you for ships. I haven't heard of any air ground things because that's not what my community really looks into. Which French PTSI speed? Good question. Let me look into them. So 89, 89, 89, 94 on VTB 13. I think that'll be our fastest. VLT1 will be VLT2, and this one's also quite slow. So yeah, VTB 13 is currently the fastest. Yeah, no word of an actual proper French battleship is a bit disappointing, but no well. Yes, I've heard it as well. I went over that too, but I don't know what they mean with corrected. So, yeah. Let's look. Actually, I think it's in the tassel. You have to check it, doesn't it? So it only gets 4 belts. which is a bit weird, but let's see.
Gefechtsbereitschaft herstellen.
So it's 600 rounds, and you have 4 belts of them.
Bomber! Voraus! 3000 Meter!
Auf Gefechtsstationen! Feind gesichtet!
I'll check the Mogami class just later. I'll look at the Tennessee in a bit as well, just give me a second. There is, yeah, some of the French 7.7s ones have a, let me actually look at them again. Test sail.
Préparez le navire au combat.
Which one was it again? There was one French boat that had like an extra belt that wasn't a full belt, but I don't remember which one it was. If we go to Tennessee, I'll look at the Mogamis in a second. But yeah, this says 2 rounds a minute. That's just wrong. This thing will never fire at 2 rounds a minute in game. As what was it? Yeah, it's free. As Scout just mentioned, it's 40 seconds aced, just like the Mississippi. Then the Mogami class. Let's take the actual Mogamis. But I heard or read something about the draft being corrected, but I don't really know what they mean with it. The rear ammo still seems to be poking ever so slightly above the waterline.
雷撃機監視方向打前メートル
戦闘配置につけ敵艦が近接中最大戦争
Yeah, this new Japanese voice lines will take some time to get used to.
面舵いっぱい急げ
面舵バイ
The one thing I do like is that there are 3 very distinct voices. But yeah, I don't really notice the draft changes too much. I think they have lowered it a bit as well, but I'm not sure. I don't know.
舵中を
了解
I'm not sure. I didn't read anything about fixed secondaries on Bretagne. Oh, Jorg, what I did to the Kuma is just rename it. The Tama, as it is now, is still the exact same ship as it was before. They just renamed it to the correct name. I did indeed do float minimap. I'll showcase it again with Tama, now that I have it. But other than that, there's no changes to the ship.
配置につけ
And I'll just wait for the float plane to get ready.
雷撃機監視方向打前メートル
戦闘配置
The name was wrong. I've actually seen a video recently showcasing the difference between the Kuma class cruisers. There's this Japanese channel, it's a little bit weird, but they make excellent videos going over all the ships of a particular type from Japan in World War II. And they did a semi-recent one on light cruisers, and the ship was just the wrong name. Like, it was obviously Tama all the time, because the Kuma is visually very different. I think I have the image somewhere, but I'll have to go digging for it. Yep, opening minimap. Let me actually... I'll just continue flying around, and I'll look for the... Look for the image, because I think I do have it somewhere in my computer. And if not, I can find it again. I think. I don't think I have it on hand, actually. I mean, yeah, it is the easier path, because you'd have to visually remodel a lot of the ship to make it into Kuma. Like the funnels are different, the bridge is different, the gun turrets are different. It's just easier to just rename it to the name of the ship it actually is all along. I mean, yeah, it's been known for years that it's Tama. But oh well. Better late than never, I guess. Actually... Or does it? Yeah, I saw a video that you just like a side-by-side shot of the two ships, and it was really clear that one wasn't the other. But I think... Do I risk launching Discord just to find the fucking darn image? Oh god, did I have it saved? I don't think I have it saved. Well, opening Discord it is. And hopefully not crashing the stream by doing it. Come on, there we go. Because I do know I have it somewhere in here. I'm not in Weep servers, believe me, I'm not. As much as you do not want to believe me. Is it in here? I think it is. There it is. It's an incredibly scuffed screenshot, but just let me do it real quick. Just need to save it somewhere where I can find it again. There we go. And let me just quickly put it up here somewhere. If I can find it again. Do not mind the incredible scuffedness of the image, because it was just a screenshot from a YouTube video. And let me show it to you. So the differences between the Tama and Kuma is the edges around the turrets. The bridge is quite distinctly different. And the bulbs on the funnels. So left here is Kuma, right is Tama. So Kuma has a different bridge. It has flat edges around the turrets, and it has these bulbs on the funnels. Tama has these raised edges, this somewhat narrower bridge, more protected bridge, and no bulbs on the funnels. Then if we go back to Taman game, or the Kuman game, it has the narrower, more protected bridge. It has the raised edges around the turrets, and no bulbs on the funnels. Also, I need to change that back. There we go. So it is just easier to rename it Tama because it just is Tama. I mean, yeah. But you always have Ikoma, which you can kind of call it Ikuma, if you really want to. There it is. Anything else that there's questions about? Did I miss any questions? I don't think I did. But now's the chance. That's also true. Bleeding Uranium, that's very true. We did only have class names back then. So it might have just stuck around. But yeah. I'm going to try something in a custom battle when it comes to towing and see if it works. Probably, Evan. Probably. And Jorg, because you're asking so nicely, I'll just show it on the Antelope as well. But do know that I can't really say anything about them because I don't know those missiles. But that's the missile on the Antelope. But now I was going to... Let's just take French, because they have the quick coastals. Custom battle, create. And sure, why not rework bay? A random password so that nobody can get in. Unless, of course, you just rewind the stream, but oh well. Because there's something changed about towing where you can no longer activate it manually. It's, I believe, done to prevent the speed boost you could get from towing a slower ship in like a destroyer. So now the tow rope action only becomes available when you have run aground or are beached. There's actually another map I should have tested this on, but I'll do it later maybe. But I want to see if I can see it happen. So I'm going to purposefully just run into an island and keep running into it. You don't have to push, no, you can tow somebody still, but you only get the option to tow somebody if they're stuck. Yep, exactly, Liberate. No more doing that. Exactly, no fun allowed. So let's see if I can get myself royally stuck. If there's something that happens. No. But apparently if I get stuck, you know what, I should get a volunteer in here. I think I've got somebody that might be able. Yeah, that's what I'm saying as well. It automatically turns on when you beach yourself. But that's... You can no longer regularly tow people. So I want to do something like... Do I have my shimakaze in here somewhere? There it is. And can I invite somebody that I know could help me? Quickly gonna check out if they're available. And I'm going to change the mission to Fiji, because Fiji has a really easy area to just beach yourself. There we go. We'll change that to boat. Okay, guys on server. At least he says he's on dev. So we'll change to the star team and just help me too. So just gonna type to him. There we go. Ah, there you go. So yeah, just take a destroyer, preferably a destroyer so I can actually tow it, maybe tow it, and just get yourself stuck on the shallows of Fiji. And of course change to star team. Just gonna wait until he's ready. There he goes. And let's see what we can do. So just sail to the spawn at sea and we'll go to the shallows like in between those two islands. Like over here on the D5 square. Spawn over at sea. And we'll see what happens. In the meantime, we can continue listening to the Japanese voice lines.
舵中央
了解舵中
We do.
央よーそろ
Oh well. Range. But we'll just get these destroyers
思う
stuck
か
and see what happens.
思うか
So as you can see, there's no longer an option to like enable your tow hook for ships.
通りか
I'll keep a good look at him
通りか
and see what happens. As we slowly make our way to the shallows. But to sort of summarize the update for now, it's pretty neat. Some, yeah, no major damage model changes, no bugs that I noticed at least. But I am holding out for the Amagi though. I really, really want to see the Amagi.
取りかじいっぱい
取りかじいっぱい
French coastalry is probably not going to be good, but it is incredibly funny. It has some really funny ships in it. Okay, he's now beached himself. Do I see the towing notification? There it is. You see the tow hook appear. However, how do I activate it? Because I'm not in a good angle to do this either. There it is. Okay, so I help him out. I've apparently attached a tow rope that I do not see. Can I pull him out? Where is the tow rope? There is a tow rope, but I don't see it.
舵中央
了解舵中央よーそろ
Backing up is not the best way to do this, but no, well. Don't really have open ocean to turn into. Oh, even in ground, okay. So yeah, it's a bit of a disappointing way to do it, really. Like if we do this. So you just get close and it'll automatically attach a tow rope, but I don't know where it attaches the tow rope to. Is it like the closest point? Is it the middle of your ship? That'll need some investigation. So this time I'm going to go sail past them a little bit. Also, you need to be incredibly close to activate those tow ropes. And see if I can pull them out.
取りかじいっぱい急げ
Yeah, yours would always attach from the back to wherever your cursor is looking. But now I'm not too sure, so... I assume it's still from the back, so currently the tow rope is not going to be under tension. But where is it attached to? Okay, tow rope is still not under tension, should be under tension soon. There it is. Okay, so this is still from the back of my ship. But to where does it go in his ship? Center of your ship? Yikes. That is not a good way to pull a ship out. Oh, was it all the center of mass from you? Oh yeah, it was. It was. Yeah, it was all the center of mass from you, then to wherever your cursor was.
前方に危険な浅瀬
And yeah, I am pulling you from the center of... Oh, that's bad. That is not the way you want to pull a ship out. Because you see my ship drifted towards his center of mass, because that's where the tow rope is attached to. Well, it's just terrible. And now I'm beaching myself, I think. Yeah.
通りか
And a little tow hook actually appears above my vehicle as well when I'm beached, apparently.
前方に危険な浅瀬
Yeah, but I can't yank to the rear because
舵中
I
央
can't attach to the... it's a bit awkward. Very awkward. It's- And these are destroyers, so it's considerably easier. Actually, oh, no.
座礁した
There we go. I'm attached again because I'm so close. Let me get a bit further away. Don't say that, Sam.
面かじいっぱい急げ
Omokaji boy.
Please don't say that. But yeah, that's him free now. Yep. But yeah, it means that basically if the game considers you stuck, you can get towed out by a friendly, even if you do not want to be towed out. I don't see this as a big problem because you need to be quite close to tow somebody else out, and random teammates will not tow you out unless they're particularly just being assholes, which might happen. But I don't think that'll happen. People don't tend to stick that close to friendlies in Naval. Oh boy, that was a big ol' hiccup. Yeah, it does mean that with this towing rework, you can no longer speed boost slow ships. Like somebody mentioned earlier, the Zippo. Yeah, any slow ship, like the SF-40 barges, the AFDs, slow frigates in fast destroyers, like I did when showcasing the Italian Albatross a few streams ago, will no longer be a thing next update, which I am not too happy about. Because it was... Was it a bit cheesy? Was it unrealistic? Sure, but it is a video game, and it is, you know, something that is a nice bonus to playing in squads. What do you mean? Because I've definitely disengaged the tow rope. Oh, did you just not even do any other input controls when you got unstuck?
面かじいっぱい
Actually, now that you mention it, I didn't see your funnels. Oh, it must have been a pretty strong pull then, if you're still being manipulated by it.
予言更新予言停止
But yeah, that is the towing change that I wanted to show off as well. Anything else I can't really think of. If there's anything any of you still want to have me look at, be it naval or not naval, and also thank you for the help, Sam, then just ask ahead. And if there's no more questions, I think I'll end it here. But yeah, just ask ahead. What about Ismail do you want to look at? I sadly cannot test sail Ismail because my Russian Blue Water fleet is a bit sad. So there's only visual looking at Ismail. I wish I could test sail it, but I just can't. I have seen that. Personally, I don't really care too much about it because I am a Grand Arcade player and absolutely bad, just crap, at ground battles anyways. I did see that. It is kind of weird. But yeah, that's the thing. On European province. Okay, Sam, that is wild. But yeah, Ismail. It's just so high out of the water compared to... I don't have the other Russian Dreadnought. There was one in the background just earlier, but it's just so tall. And also has a very, very small superstructure. With a good bit of bridge protection, have a look at it. But yeah. You know what? Whilst I'm waiting for more questions to roll in, if there are any, I'm going to test sail this thing at night. Because why not?
Captain has the con.
The muzzle flashes can't quite keep up with the rendering.
Ocean, make condition 1.
Aircraft destroyed.
Yeah, this is a beautiful battleship. Like the most number of barrels of anti-air guns, I'm not too sure. But I'm actually more willing to bet it's Japanese with those incredible numbers of, what, 25 mils? But yeah. This is going to be a fun battleship to get your hands on. Also, apparently I have a float plane, but there's not on a catapult.
Spotter plane.
So let's see what float plane this thing launches. Probably just an OS2U, but yeah, it is. Very sad.
Target identified.
Actually, no, let's shoot at that.
Cruiser.
Contact bearing. 280. 7,000 meters.
I'm looking forward to getting Tennessee, as well as the Yamagi. And then there's the Barham coming up in an upcoming event. It's going to be, ooh, plenty of battleships for the big three navies. But yeah, I think that's about it. Good question, Scout, but that I will have to figure out, I think, when the update goes live. With the Scharnhorst specifically. Oop. The frames seem to not have recovered. I can shoot a Lincoln because I think it has two... No, it has a 12,000 pounder, doesn't it? Where is the Lincoln? There it is. That means I have to respade it, doesn't it? Yep. Oh yeah, this is also a new thing. The yeah, it gets the bigger bombs. Not really meaningful screen this for these kind of bombers. But it's very fun for stuff like... There we go. Stuff like this. It's very nice for jets. Very, very nice. Canberra Mark II is actually, is it the British Canberra has it as well? And I noticed the American one has it. Still in Japan. Canberra Mark II. It gets 2 cookies now. Very nice. You know what, because I have it, let me just quickly test fly it. Because I want to look at the bomb bay of this thing. I think it is. I'm not entirely sure. Yeah, it doesn't have takeoff flaps. But yeah, as I plan to do more usually is when the update goes live, I'll make an update summary video like I usually do or plan to usually start doing. So I won't make a video just summarizing all the changes. I'll do it when the update goes live. Just in case some new stuff gets added and I'm not going to see anything. But yeah, that's 2 barrels inside of this plane. See if I can see it more if I fly upside down. Those 2 cookies are right there. I've already talked about the Sokote RPM increase, but I can actually test it, I guess. And actually see it. But no.
合戦準備
The visibility does really help for coastal tracers, especially on the smaller guns.
戦闘配置につけ敵艦が近接中
I mean, you say that, Jorg, but I am terrible at guessing tanks.
砲弾命中
It'd be longer than you'd think.
了解よーそろ
ホーリカー
Let me actually also at the same time test sail those early French coastals. I've also gone over that trick. And another thing you might not have actually noticed about that change is that Douglas has a reload animation, but it also carries 2 additional missiles, now carrying up to 4, which is very neat. Yeah, Douglas now carries 4 missiles. And also don't worry about the trick. Douglas might actually become a little bit more competitive with double the missiles. French coastal is what I was going to look at. Let's do it at night. Actually, let's do it at day, but make it overcast. Or just rain, if we have that. There it is.
Branle-bas de combat, tout le monde
Like-
à son poste.
Let's see the tracers.
Identifié. Bateau.
The tracers are a lot more visible. And as you can see, the damage output is atrocious.
3000 mètres.
And then it's a 12-second reload.
Ennemi détecté. Barre à bâbord.
I do actually need to experiment with the belts, though. I'm never quite sure what kind of belts to use for these very small machine guns. I kind of want to try the IT belts. Because recently a while ago I was playing PT6 again, and taking full tracer belts on it actually did a surprisingly bit more damage than AP belts would. And I'm just going to see if that's the case for these ships as well. I'll show Cyclone as well.
Branle-bas de combat, tout le monde à son poste. Cible identifiée. Bateau.
2-0. 1000 mètres.
Moteur, pleine puissance.
Ah! Ennemi touché.
Barre à bâbord.
Barre à bâbord. Terminé.
But yeah, the tracers are quite nice. They're a bit easier to follow.
2000 mètres.
Branle-bas de combat. Ennemi détecté.
Cible touché par les torpilles.
Barre à tribord.
Barre à tribord. Terminé.
Another thing I actually need to check, what I'm pretty sure about, is that none of the current French coastal vessels have depth charges. None of them. But I do need to actually double check that. This doesn't, this doesn't, this does not. This also doesn't. The Vosper also doesn't. That's not the Vosper, this is the Vosper. The Vosper does have depth charges. But none of the other French coastals carry any depth charges. Anyways, Sam asked to show Cyclone. With the new tracers.
Ocean, bring us to general quarters. Agent, flank speed.
Left hard rudder. Aye, aye.
Target identified.
And just get both guns on target for maximum tracer.
20. 1000 meters. Radio bridge. Spotted on radar. Attacker. Ahead. 2000 meters. Close it.
Ocean, make condition 1.
Also, I think I forgot about one of the data mine ships, didn't I?
Holding course. Aye, aye.
Or was it just a name I saw?
Standard rudder.
Right standard rudder. Aye, aye.
I think there was a data mine I think I forgot to mention. Is some British boat, but it seems like just an HMAS Arrow, but it's slightly different. There's not much to
Direct hit.
look at there anyways.
Founder.
But I forgot the name of it as well.
Pull right over.
But yeah, the new tracers are pretty neat for coastals. They're pretty neat for blue water. But yeah. I think that's about it. There's not much to show really. I could dazzle the combatant again. That's the one, bleeding uranium. P-metal class.
Poste de combat.
And from what I could find at least, it seems similar to HMAS Arrow.
À tribord, toutes, terminé.
But I'm not entirely sure.
3000 mètres.
Roll-bas de combat. Ennemi détecté. Cible identifiée.
500 mètres. Ennemi touché. Passe au milieu du navire, terminé. Cible aérienne détruite.
Moteur à l'arrêt.
I'm not with one. I think you can do it with two. But I haven't been able to do it with one yet. So the missile is a little bit difficult to follow as it goes slightly below your cursor rather than on it. So you need to be a bit careful where you point it.
Cible touchée par les obus. Explosion
And there it
de
goes.
munitions détectée.
Cible identifiée.
So you can, with a direct hit, you can ammo rack the destroyers, but you need to be accurate, of course.
Bâbord.
And they take a long time to get to that destroyer.
Au milieu du navire.
Like, this ship is more of a gimmick with its missiles than actually competitive. But that is fine in my eyes. Okay, I think I'll leave it at that. So, final chance to ask any questions if there are any. And if there are none, I'll leave it at that and I'll see you all next week. I'm not going to just continue on the live server and do some stuff. I'll just leave it at this. Leave it as concise as possible. And thank you all for watching. And I have heard of the SU-24 gunput, but I can't see it. But yeah. Anyways, thank you all for watching. And I will see you around next week. And hopefully, maybe I'll actually make a video somewhere this week for once. But yeah. Now, actually, thank you for watching. And I'll see you all again next week.